self-efficacy or well-being. And this is the research by Kahneman and Easterline, where for developed countries, income does not predict happiness. But Indonesia is a developing country, and income instrument into English. And I will check the two English versions and see if there are differences. And we find some errors in translations and errors in back translation, and we modified the Bahasa Indonesian version. So we know that the two version, English and Indonesia Bahasa, is the same. And then what we asked to do is ask students to complete a survey. So due to corona pandemic in Korea, we collected the data using Google survey. And we also collected the data in Indonesia, in Yogyakarta, in Malang, in Bandung. And data has been collected is also in Jakarta, in Bali. So data are being collected in 5 different locations in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Kota Kinabalu, in Sabah, and in Kuala Lumpur. In India, it has been collected in Pune, and also it is collected by Uzbekistan students studying in our university, in addition to data collected in Korea. So this is the basic research model, and I will go through how we analyze the data. So the question is, how do you conduct research and how do you publish it with a high impact value? Okay. So you have to choose a research topic that is of interest to a particular country. So we were interested in Korea because Korea is now economically developed, but they're not happy. And the question is why? And especially with millennial and Gen Z. Indonesia is not economically developed, but they're happy. And the question is why? And so if you look at the theory of Kahneman, if you look at the Harvard study of development, they discovered that relationship is the most important predictor of happiness. And so we are looking at relationship and we're looking at factors that predict. So, for myself, for those who do not know me, I have published more than 200 articles and 20 books. And so, publishing is not that difficult, but publishing is an art. And you have to understand how to engage in art and science of research and publication. Science involves the research model and statistical analysis. The art involves the art of communication. So I use the analogy. Let's say you're in love and you want to write a love letter, but you don't have a lover. You don't have a person that you want to write the letter to. So the problem in Asia, when you are writing an article, who are you writing the article to? Who are you writing the article for? Who will read your article? For most Asians, we have not participated in international conferences. We have not visited United States or North America, who will be the reviewers of the article. And we do not know many of the people that who will read or who will cite the article. And this is the biggest problem. If you don't know the audience, how do you write the love letter? Secondly, in Asia, there is a lot of pressure to publish in Scopus listed journal or SSCI. And the problem is, yes, when you publish your article, will anyone read it or cite it? And the result is that most people would not read or cite article from Indonesia if you just state that you have confirmed American result. So what you need to do is understand your own culture and context and show that the results in Indonesia is different from results in United States, and to challenge some of the assumptions that American theories make. And what that will do, it will upset many established American and European psychologists, and they will cite your article to point out problems with your article and to challenge the findings. And by doing so, they're citing your research articles. And there are others in different parts of the world who may agree, and they will cite your research article. So the goal of research is not to publish, but to have it read and cited. Okay, so it is the impact value, or what we call H index, that is critical. To do a lot of research and and have it not read or cited means that that article does not exist. So the goal is not to publish or perish. The goal is to have your article read and cited. And the question is, how do you do it? So my argument is you have to understand your own culture, your own indigenous context, and produce results that will be interesting and relevant and advanced science. So this is a model that we developed, and this model is a modification, a model that Alba Bandura developed and has empirically verified. My colleague Gian Vittorio Caprera at Italy, and many European and many American psychologists have conducted research and verified the model. But there are differences in terms of some of the scales and some of the efficacy. So this is the basic research model, and we collected data in Yogyakarta with university students. And the reason why I collect data with university students is they're easy to collect. Students have experience filling out questionnaire. And so we use data collection from university students in order to check the reliability and validity of the scale. And once we find that it's reliable and valid, then we can collect data from other sample, from high school students, from parents to community in organization. For example, we have a study on leadership, and if it's validated to be reliable, then we'll modify it to collect data with companies. So this is the basic research model, and Jisun Kim, who's a doctoral candidate, who has been doing research and analysis, she will inform you how to do statistical analysis. But before we actually do statistical analysis using path analysis, we have to do some basic analysis. And the basic analysis that we need first to conduct is what we not this file, excuse me, um, is to data clean the data, then to code and recode the data so that you can conduct uh, uh, statistical analysis. So what we have done is coded and recoded the data. Then what we do is conduct analysis using background information. So this is the result of the background analysis of, let's say, correlation between age, sex, year, and self-efficacy and various different variables. Okay, so this is a table that looks at background information with self-efficacy, social support, and the variables that I have introduced. Okay. And this probably is not a difficult task for conducting correlational analysis. So what I will show you is the result of the correlational analysis based on t-test and sample mean. So the first mean thing you have to do is check reliability. And so if you don't have reliability, then you cannot continue to conduct research. So usually each scale has around 6 items. And what you want to know is on the top left-hand corner, you see Cronbach alpha. Cronbach alpha is a measure of how items within the scale correlate to each other. Another way of saying is, are they measuring the same thing? Like, are they measuring temperature? And are they measuring temperature in a consistent way? And it is based on item total correlation. If you have 6 items, how does item 1 correlate to the total of the rest? In general, item total correlation has to be beyond 0.20. So if you have the item that correlate to the total score of 0.20 or higher, then that item belongs to the scale. So if you have 6 items, is this scale a good scale or not? So if you look at positivity, it's 0.80, sense of community 0.83, and trust is 0.7. So positivity and sense of community is a good scale. Trust is on the borderline. But if you look at caution, it's 0.59. So item total correlation is above 0.20, but it's moderate. So its Cronbach alpha is low. And also, Cronbach alpha is influenced by number of items in the scale. Trust and caution has 5 items. So as a result, it has a lower Cronbach alpha compared to sense of community that has 10 items and positivity that has 8 items. So in general, I recommend that you start with 8 to 10 and select the best 6 for future studies. So as you see, the Cronbach alpha positivity community is high, and trust is acceptable, and caution is relatively low. If you look at self-efficacy, except for self-assertive efficacy, the other efficacy, relative, self-regulate, social, relational, resilience is high because it has 7 items instead of 6. And enlisting social support, meet others' expectation, and family efficacy is high. So self-regulation, assertive social resilience were created by Albert Bandura, and I've created relational efficacy and family collective efficacy to measure important aspect of Indonesian and Korean culture. And if you look at social support, total parental support, the Cronbach alpha is 0.92, which is high. And then the total score is composed of emotional support, informational support, and practical support. The total Cronbach alpha for social support friend is 0.92. It's relatively high. It's made of emotional and informational. We don't have practical support because friends do not provide financing and practical support to one another. Then we added online social support because my doctoral student Ji-sun Kim told me that now Gen Z spend a lot of time online, and the community that they interact and develop is very important. First, I did not believe her because I did not think they were any different from older generation, and I felt uh, offline, in-person social support is the most important, and online would not be important. But as you see from the Cronbach alpha, it is very high. So there is emotional support, informational support, but career support, as you can see, the Cronbach alpha is very high. So it suggests that Indonesian and Korean students obtain social support. And if you look at the mean, total mean, and male and sex differences for social support, let me just get out and okay. Uh, okay. So if you look at the total mean on the after Cronbach alpha, male and sex differences, there are virtually no differences in terms of social support. And the highest social support is from parents, followed by friends. So online social support is lower, but still it is a highly reliable scale. Then we had subjective well-being. The total score consists of subjective well-being plus flourishing scale. As you notice that the total score, and flourishing and subjective well-being score is relatively high. Then we asked an overall item. This is based on Isalign. I am very happy or I'm satisfied with my life. It's a one item scale and it is used for concurrent validation that we will use to show that it is validated. If you look at happiness, happiness total is a total score for the 8 domains of happiness. And so self, academic life, career, health, family, friends, society, and spiritual. And overall is a one item scale that asks how happy you are. So as you can see, the Cronbach alpha for self is high, but not so much for academic. But there are acceptable levels. And so if you look at the total score and male and female, happiness, there is no difference except for spiritual, whereas female students have a higher spiritual well-being than the male counterpart. And so if you look at the t-test, that for positivity, males are more positive than female. And for self-efficacy, you find that females females are more assertive than males, and they're higher in social efficacy and also in resilience. So, in terms of self-efficacy, I'm sorry, it's the males. Males are quoted as one, and female is quoted as so. It's the female students who have higher efficacy in assertive, social, and resilience of efficacy. For parental support, for social support, there are no sex differences. For well-being, there are no social differences, and for happiness, there is no social differences except spiritual. And this is the correlation between positivity and sense of community. As you can see, positivity and sense of community are correlated with self-efficacy. So what I did in bold, in positivity, I bolded those correlations that are high, such as resilience and meeting others' expectation. For sense of community is social, relational, meeting, and families efficacy. In terms of uh, social support, parental total support has highest correlation, whereas community, it is friends. For online, it is emotional and also career that are important. So for subjective well-being, it's highly correlated with positivity, moderately correlated a sense of community. And for happiness, you can see for positivity is self and health and overall item that are highly correlated. And for sense of community is career and uh, in terms of society. So you can see the pattern of correlation. And also I conducted correlation with trust. It is highly correlated where caution, distrust is not. Then I conduct correlation with self-efficacy. And I highlighted those items in bold that are highly correlated. For example, social support parent with relational efficacy, social support with friends with relational, and also enlisting social support. And this is a correlation, and this is the correlation with social support. And this is a correlation with subjective well-being, and this is the correlation with happiness. So the reason why I do that is I use the result to conduct variable for path analysis. So for path analysis, Jizun will present, but I will show you the conceptual model that uh, we you use. Let me just get the. So this is the model, basic model that I introduced. So for subjective well-being, highest correlation self-efficacy is meeting others' expectation. So I inserted that and social support from friends. For flourishing, it was relational efficacy and social support from parents. As you know, for each model, depending on the subjective well-being and happiness, we included different efficacy and social support because positivity, SES, and trust is one scale. For happiness total, I've included self-efficacy for family and social support from parents. For happiness about oneself, we found that social efficacy and social support friend had the highest correlation. For happiness about academic life, relational efficacy, and social support from family had the highest correlation. For happiness career, we found social efficacy and social support from friends. And these are the variables that Ji-sun Kim will use to conduct the path analysis. For health, we found resilience and online support to be highly uh, correlated. And for family, we found family efficacy and social support from family to be correlated. And for spiritual, we found relational efficacy and social support from parents to be highly correlated. So this is a very brief introduction of the research model, and based on the correlational and multiple regressional analysis, these are the variables that have been selected. So can Daisy turn off your microphone since we can hear you? Daisy Yazri, can you turn off your microphone? Okay, let me see. Okay, let me see if I can turn off. Daisy, can you turn off your speaker? Daisy Yazri? This is one of the problem with Zoom.
Jangan tutup-tutup kayak gitu, jangan loncat-loncat. Bahaya itu namanya.
Daisy, can you hear me, Daisy? Yes. Okay, I don't. Okay, can you do it here? No, it's too complicated. Can you turn off? Okay, so now Daisy is turned off. Okay, so now, okay, my mouse is stuck. So, okay, so I will get off and allow Chisun Kim to make the presentation because you're wondering how do you do path analysis, and she will provide a step-by-step analysis of conducting path analysis and the result that you can obtain. So Chisun Kim, can you take over?
Okay, thank you. Can I share my screen first? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm Jisan Kim, and now I want to conduct the path analysis, referring to the research model that Professor Kim introduced. So now I have SPSS data with the 335 data from Indonesia. So from the SPSS, I want to go to AMOS first. So I'm clicking the analysis and then click the IBM SPSS AMOS. So then you can go to the AMOS from the SPS.
For your reference, she has screen captured all the files, and if you write to me, I will send you the capture screen and also the tape recording later tonight. So Jisun Kim, can you go ahead?
Okay. Okay, so this is the first page. And now, before the analyze the data, I want to make a setting to analyze the data. So first thing I need to do is click the view first, and then click the first one, interface property. And then I want to make a paper, not portrait version. Instead, I want to click the landscape letter.
We cannot see the Zoom in the Zoom. Can you see it in your Zoom? We
Yes,
only
Miss.
see the data file.
Is it okay?
So can you
Can I
click analyze? Can you click analyze or?
here, from the SPSS data, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, first I click analyze, and
Okay,
then
now we
click
can see it. Okay, good. Slowly. Okay, analyze, and what do you collect?
the last one named IBM SPSS AMOS.
Okay. Can you make your screen smaller because we don't see the bottom?
Oh, okay. Now, can you see my screen
Okay,
with
yes.
the first? Okay, now
Can you go back from the beginning? Sorry,
okay.
go back to the beginning so that everyone knows how you got there.
Okay.
So you go to the data file first.
Yes.
Okay.
First, this is the SPSS data, and then
Okay.
I am clicking analyze, and
Okay.
then I am clicking the IBM SPSS AMOS.
It's at the bottom of the model that we cannot see, but you should be able to see it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And then if you click the AMOS, you can see this
We
screen.
don't see AMOS, we just see the data set. Okay, now we can see it. Okay.
Okay. So now I want to make a change with the paper size. So I am clicking the view first on the top menu bar, and then I am clicking the first one named interface properties. And when I click the first one, you can see the paper size on the middle of the screen. And then if you click this arrow button and then scroll down, you can see the landscape and letters. And if you click the apply, you can see the paper is changing from the portrait, and then now I have a landscape version. Can I move on?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. And then I also want to the analog setting. So I am clicking also view from the top menu bar. And then I am clicking the second one named analysis properties. And now you can see this screen. Now to change it, I am clicking the output, and then this is the default setting. But I am clicking the second one named standardized estimate, and then also the below one named scared multiple correlation, and then the last bottom one named modification index. And then on the right side, I can see the indirect, direct, and focal effect. So we can click this checkbox. And then I also want to change the setting for the bootstrap. So on the top, you can see the bootstrap tab. And then I will click the three above the checkbox named perform bootstrap, and second one, and also the third one. But now the recent papers recommend the 2000 bootstrap rather than 200. I will change this setting to from 200 to 2000. And then for the second and the third one, I will also change it from 90 to 95. And also for the third one, I will also change from 90 to 95. And then from this page, the last one is the clicking the Bootstrap ML. So from this Bootstrap can see the change from the default setting. And then now I am clicking axis now. Change
Henrik, can you turn off the mic? Hendrik Setion, can you turn off your microphone? Hendrik, yes, thank you. Go ahead, please, Jisun.
Okay, and here we cannot see the apply button, but instead of the clicking the apply, you can just click the escape from your keyboard, so that our setting can apply to this AMOS. So I am clicking escape button from my keyboard, and now I complete
Escape button on the top right-hand corner of your computer. Thank you.
Yes. And now we are ready to analyze the data. So now I want to import the data. So please see the left side. So here you can see several icons. So I will click the this button, and this button named list variables in dataset. So if you click this button for the data set, you can see the variables from the SPSS, and also if you code some variables, you can see that those variable on the button when you scroll down. So now I can see someone code the variables. So now I will drag this variable to our paper. So referring to our research model,
Are you my co-host?
Sorry, Professor.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. So now I am also watching our research model. So first, I need to find the positivity. So here now I can see the positivity here. So from this variable in data set, I am dragging this variable to the paper on the right side here. And then from the research model, I need a social support friend. So now I am searching the friend social support and then make the variable here. And then I also need SES. So I am dragging a variable from here to the paper. So we can make the same model from the PowerPoint to the AMOS. And then now I need to find the self-efficacy. And here, Professor, is it same? The meet expectation is named SE expectation. Professor, can you confirm if the meet means SE expectation?
It's expectation, yes.
Okay,
Meet
so
is yes, XC expectation. Meet the expectation, yes.
Okay, thank you. So I am dragging the self-efficacy with expectation to the paper. And then now I need trust. So I'm also dragging the trust from the variable set to the paper. And also the last one is the subjective well-being. So now I am finding the subjective well-being and then drag here. And actually, I made a algorithm model. So if you want to move this variable, we can click this car button, and then we can drag the variable so that we can make better model here. So I am moving variable here. And now I am importing our variable from the data set. And then next step is making the error. So when you see the this function have a gain, you can see this error button. So when I click the error button, and then after then you can see the mouse is changed to make the error. So after click this error, and then you can click or variable so that they can have the error. Okay, and now we have a variable with errors, but we need a error name. So to write the error name, you can move your mouse to the error so that you can see the error is highlighted in red. And then please click the right button from your mouse, and then you can see this function. So from this function, you can click the first one, name object property. So I am clicking the first function, and then you can see this one. And on the middle, you can see the variable name, and please write error 1. So I am just writing the shortened version. So I'm writing the E1 for the error 1. And then I am also click the escape button from my keyboard so that it could be applied. And now from the screen, you can see the positivity error has a name E1. So we can do the same thing for the other variables. So I am clicking the right button for the social support, and then click the object properties like what we did previously, and then I am putting the name E2. So please make sure we cannot make a same error name. Instead, we can put the error 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. So for the social support friend, I am putting the error 2 name, and then I need next error name. But you can see, as you can see, when I click the right button from the SES, you cannot find the same function as previous one. So in this case, you can click this hand button. So if you click this hand button, and then if you drag your mouse to this third error, you can see the error is highlighted in red again. So I am clicking the right button, and then also I am doing the same thing, but the different name is 3. So now I will do it fast. So this one is for E4, error 4, and clicking the hand button, and click the right button from the drop, and then I am naming the error 5. And for the last variable named subjective well-being, I am also clicking this hand button, and then drag to the SWB, and clicking the right button from my mouse, and then clicking the object properties, and from the variable name, I am putting error 6 for the last variable. So now you can see the 6th variable has 6 errors each, and then also they have or error name, but different name. So now we have a variable on the paper, but actually this is the path analysis. We need a path. So to make a path, please go to the left function button, and then you can find this draw path function. So now I am click this button, and I am looking at the research model again, and I am doing the same. I am making the same path from the research model. So I need to make the path from the positivity to the social support friend. So if you click the positivity, you can see the positivity is highlighted in red. And then if you click your mouse, you can see this path is going to the SE expectation. So we can do it the same thing, but please refer to the research model. So now I am following the research model. So from the positivity to trust, and then from the positivity to subjective well-being. And now I will make a path from the social support. So from the research model, I need to make a path from the social support to trust, and then social support to self-efficacy, and then social support to subjective well-being. So you don't need to mind this path is overlapped with the variable, but it doesn't matter. So don't worry about this overlapping. And now I am making the path from the SCF to self-efficacy, and then SCF to subjective well-being. And now self-efficacy to trust, and self-efficacy to subject well-being. And the last path is trust to subjective well-being. So now I am thinking this is the same with our first research model, but I am double check it again.
That's fine.
Okay, so if this model is fine, and same with the research model, so now we are prepared to have a result. So to see the result, I am clicking this result button. So this one, calculate estimate, is the name. So I am clicking this button named calculate estimate. Okay, so now the Amos said I need to save this file to see the result. So I will save this file with a different name. And after you save this file, it is conducting the analyze now, and now it is done. So how I can know is if you have this red result, the Amos complete the analysis. So now you can see the result. So to see the result, please click this view on the top tab, and you can find the text output. So please click text output from the view. So now I am clicking the text output. Okay, now we can see the notebook model, but from this screen, we will check the model fit first. So here on the left side, you can see the model fit here. So I am clicking the model fit. And now you can see several tables. But from here, we will check the top 3 tables. So first, we can see the model fit, and now I am checking the semen and semen divided DF. And from here you can find first the semen. So semen refers to the chi-square value, and you can confirm as a good model when this semen is higher than 0.05. So now we can see this is higher than 0.05. And also, if you can see the semen divide the F, the research model is acceptable if it is more, it is 3 or less, but I think it is problem. So we will see again after some adjustment. And from here, we will also check the RMR, GFI, AGFI, PGFI, and also NFI. Also, the last one is the CFI. So, as for the RMR, if this RMR is less than 0.05, we can confirm this is a good model. And in case of GFI, AGFI, PGF, I'm sorry, AGFI, NFI, and the CFI, if they are more than 0.9, we can confirm this is good model. So from the model fit, we can find these three table. We need to check these three table. And after checking these three tables, we can go to the estimate
Just
from
before we go to the estimate, adjusted goodness of fit is below 0.9, so we have to insert other variables to make a higher adjusted GFI. But we can go to the path and we can see what happened. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so if you click this estimate, you can see the each task value. So what we need to check is this P. So if some test has P more than 0.05, we need
You
to
would say 0.05 rather than 0.05. 0.05 would be the best.
okay 0.05. If we have more the P value more than 0.05, we need to delete those paths. So now I can see this path has some problem. So SES2, SE, and social support 2, subjective well-being, and SF2, subjective well-being. So I am writing this one to my note, and I will remove it from the path. So after you check this one, we can go back to our paper on the A mode, and to delete the path, please click this erase object button. So if you click this erase button,
Before you erase, can you show me the numbers for the path, the correlation path correlation? Yes.
okay,
And you
so
will see why we need to delete it. So can you give the result?
okay, so to follow the professor mentioning, to see the result, I need to click this button on the top of the page. So please click this colorful button first, and then the number is showing up.
So you will see that SES to expectation and subjective well-being is low. That's why it's not significant. So GSUN will delete those arrows.
Okay, so you can see this path, and this path has a lower value, and also it has a minus value. So I will erase first these three paths, 1, 2, 3. So to erase those paths, we need to go back to this first one. So click this one. And then if you click the erase button, you can find the path is also highlighted in red. So what I need to is, if I click this path, the path is erased. And then I think I need to erase
Yes, S subject well-being, that one,
Okay,
and
so
SES expectation.
okay, I'm clicking the second path to erase, and then I'm also clicking the third path to erase the last. So now you can see three passes I erased, and we need to analyze this path again. So like what we did previously, I'm also click this analyze button to calculate estimate. So I am clicking this button, and now it is scanning our data. And now this button changes to the colorful one. So it means, again, the data analysis is completed. So we can see the result. So
Can we see the goodness of fit?
correct. So again, to see the goodness fit, like a model fit, we can click view, and then we can click text output to see the model fit. So I am clicking the text output again, and I'm also clicking the model fit again to see those tables.
So the RMI and goodness of fits are above 0.9. RMI is below significant, but Seaman DF, the probability is significant. So that could be a problem. So can you go back to the model fit model? There's a model problem in terms of SCS. So SCS is not a good variable. The variable was based on simple correlation. So can you delete SCS?
Okay, so to delete the variable, I'm clicking this erase button, and I am clicking the variable. So we can see the variable is erased, but please make sure we need to erase the error again.
Okay, and so since we deleted SCS, can we delete self-efficacy expectation and
Okay,
replace it with relational efficacy?
okay. So to follow the Professor Kim say, I am clicking this erase button, and then I am clicking the SE expectation to delete this variable, and also I am clicking the error button to erase the error from the SE. So now we need to replace this variable. So we need to import the variable from the data set again. So I am clicking this button, list variable. So as Professor Kim mentioned, I need to
Relational,
import
yes.
the relational self-efficacy. So now I am dragging this variable from the dataset to our paper. So
And
we
can you also include the TGPA, grade point average, total grade point average? TGPA,
can, so,
yes.
okay,
In the
here
same location as SCS.
okay, so here,
So what we're doing is our conceptual model does not provide the base data. And self-relational efficacy has similar high correlation, and academic grade is highly correlated. So we're exploring which set of variables provide the best prediction. So please go ahead and complete the rest.
Okay. So to complete the rest, we also need an error again. So I am clicking the error button from the left function, and I am clicking the new variables so that they can have errors again. And I am also click the right button from my mouse, and I am clicking the object property to change the error name. So now I will write error 3 and go back to the paper, and to make an error from the SE, but I can see this button is not highlighted in red. So in this case again, I am clicking the hand button, and when I go back to this error, you can see this button is highlighted in red. So now I can click the right button from my mouse, and I am clicking the first function named object property. So its name will be error 4. Then now I am escape from this object property. And now we need a path again because now we have two new variables. So I am clicking the draw path, and I will draw path for the new variable. So from positivity to SE, and social support to self-efficacy, and then social support to subject well-being, and then positivity to GPA, and TGPA to self-efficacy and subjective well-being. And the last one from the self-efficacy, I am drawing the path to trust and also the subject well-being. So after you complete drawing the path, we need to analyze the data again. So I am clicking the calculate estimate button again. And to see the result, I am clicking this button. Professor, can I go to see the model fit?
It's better, but it's not much better. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so to see the model fit, I am clicking view and then text output, and I am clicking the model fit. Okay, now I can see the Siemens divide df is less than 2. So we can interpret this one is a good model now. And I am also checking the RMR, and since it is less than 0.05, we can also say it is okay for the model fit. And also I am checking GFI, adjust GFI, NFI, and also the CFI. And since it needs to be more than 0.09 or higher, we can say this model has a good fit. So since it has a good fit, we can see the estimate to check the each path is okay. So can I move on, Professor Kim?
Yes, to the result, but I'm not happy with the model. And so can you show the path and the result?
Okay, so to check the each path, I am clicking the estimate button. So you can check this
Okay.
table.
Can you go to the figure? And what
Okay,
I'm looking at,
okay,
can you
so
go to the path with the result?
okay,
We can
so
go through
to
that
go
later.
back to the path again. I am
Yes.
escape from this screen.
So what I'm not happy is the GPA does not increase self-efficacy. And so GPA is not a good predictor. It does not predict subjective well-being, although positivity influence GPA. So can you delete total GPA and include our GPA?
Okay. So to
So
erase
the
total,
psychological variables work very well, but the background information, SES and TGPA, does not work. So we will see if our GPA works. And if our GPA doesn't work, we'll just delete it and not include it in the model.
okay. So now I am deleting the total GPA and also the error and replacing this total GPA to our GPA. And now I am making the error and I am changing the error name to
So the
include.
difference between total GPA is the GPA that you receive total. Our GPA is relative to your classmates. Okay. So those are two different grades that we have inserted in the background information.
Okay. So I already draw the path so we can see the result directly. So I am clicking the calculation button and we can see the result shortly.
Okay, so I can see that even our GPA is not working out because it does not predict relational efficacy or our subjective well-being. Can you replace self-efficacy relation with resilience, self-efficacy resilience, and social support friend with social support parents? So this is the difficulty with path analysis because there are 8 efficacy scales and there are 3 social support scale. And so you have to play around with it. So what you need to do is look at the correlational analysis to see which efficacy variable, like self-efficacy with parent, positivity or GPA, and self-efficacy with trust and subjective well-being. So you have to play around with the different combination to give you the best fit and give you the best result. What you're looking at, you want to see self-efficacy connected with social support, positivity, and RGPA. If you don't have that, then it's not a good fit because all the psychological variables predict one another, but behavior measure does not. So what I'm trying to see is there a behavior measure that we can include that would give us the goodness of fit and significant results? So Jisun is ready. So can you run the analysis?
Okay.
So can you show the result? Okay, uh, it's minus 19.
Yes.
RGPA to resilience?
Yes.
Minus. Can you,
Minus.
that's shocking. Can you include regulatory efficacy?
Okay. So I am replacing self-efficacy to regulate.
So what you need to know, path analysis is very sensitive and all the variables have to connect in the right way to give you good result. It's like different parts of a car. If your brake doesn't work, then you have a problem. If the transmission doesn't work, you have a problem. Steering. So doing path analysis, you have to understand the data and you have to do multiple analysis to find the best fit. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, I think now it work. But the problem is, yeah, I think this model will work. So why don't we go to the significance and delete the non-significant path? So the model fit is okay in terms of C min divided by DF, in terms of RMI, GFI, AGFI, NFI, and CFI. Okay, so as I expected, the model fit is all very good. So can we go to the path and delete some of the paths that are not significant?
Okay. Delete
Oh,
the yes, please.
okay, and LGPA to self-regulate does not work either. So can we delete RGPA to subjective well-being, um, to trust, uh,
Okay.
okay, and positivity? Let's see what happens. So path analysis take many days, sometimes months, to get the model that you like and model that is publishable. RGPA to trust you have to delete.
Okay.
Okay. And can you run? And let's see what happens. So the reason you don't delete all thing is path analysis is based on partial correlation. If you delete some of the variables, then variable like RGPA that was not significant may become significant. And the problem with this model is positivity. If you look at the path from positivity of subjective well-being is 0.9. It is very powerful and it is very significant and it's absorbing all the variance. Social support parents to subjective well-being is 0.39 also. So, and positivity to self-regulation is very strong. So the problem is positivity is highly correlated with subjective well-being, self-efficacy, and trust. And it is absorbing all the variance explained. And as a result, there's not much left over. So if you look at positivity to parents, social support parents, it's highly correlated. So positivity is a very strong predictor that absorbs all the nutrients in explaining the variation. So the others, there's not much left. But I believe the model fit will all work. So can you check the significant and the model fit?
Okay. Now we can see the model fit here.
Okay, they look good.
Okay.
Cmin divided by DF is less than 2. RMI is less than 0.5. Goodness of fit is above 9. So the model fit is good. So now we have to look at the significance of each path. And you keep your fingers crossed and hope that everything works out. And it doesn't. RGPA self-regulate is not significant. Okay. And so we have to delete RGPA. So let's delete RGPA.
Okay.
And can you run this one? And it'll be significant. Yes, all the paths are significant and the model fit.
Okay.
This is unusual. Cmin divided by degree of freedom is 0. What is that telling you? You have a perfect model. This is a perfect model, and you don't have the degree of freedom left. That means it's a problem. Can you go to the path, the diagram? Everything is correlated with one another, and you have a perfect model. In psychology, we cannot have a perfect model. So this is a problem, okay? So why is this a problem? Everything works perfectly. and you have to explain why everything works perfectly in Indonesia, and I have no idea. So you have to include other variables to make it less than perfect. That's why I put SES. And so can you put back SES uh, and see, because you cannot have semen divided by degree of freedom of 0, because it means you're perfect. And so in Korea, in any country, you cannot have a perfect model. And in psychology, it's very hard to get a perfect model, but we got it. Can you put an arrow from SES to trust just in case? Uh, SES to trust direct path. So what you're seeing now, I'm modifying the model to fit the data, because my conception does not always fit reality. And so this is a new model based on the analysis. So can you show the path significance? Okay, this will work. So can you delete SES to SWB, SES to subjective well-being? Okay. And can you run the model fit? This time we will not get a perfect model. Okay, can you give the goodness of fit?
Oh, can I delete this one first? Or...
Yes, minus, yes. Then we'll get a good result. Okay, looks good.
Model fit.
Okay, Seaman is good. RMR is good. GFI, AGFI, CFI, and NFI is good. So we have a good model, and let's look at the path significance. So whenever I get this model, I feel very smart. I feel that I know what I'm doing. And as you know, we had to go through this many times. And so the problem is SC regulate. I don't know why it's not significant. You know why this is not significant, Ibu Rini? Because we have too many female students and not enough male students. And this means we have to collect more data. So the path model was good, but the problem is the self-efficacy is not working. And so I have to figure out, I have to go back to the correlation table and figure out. So why don't we go to the next model to see if, so this is the okay, but I'm not happy. And when I'm not happy, I don't accept it. Okay. So this is publishable, but still it's not acceptable to me. So I will do further analysis. Okay. And I think if you collected additional 160 men, 140, the result will be stable. Okay. Result it does not appear to be as stable, especially background information. So we'll find out. So can we do a flourishing?
Okay.
We can keep the same model. Okay.
Oh,
Or
or if
you
you are,
already,
I already created the file
okay.
just in
So
podcast.
yes, please. It's good that you are prepared. Okay, you already did it. Okay, let's run it then. So
But but
run it.
I didn't delete the path because I want to show every
Yes,
process. So
yes. So this is what I want from Indonesian student, a student who's prepared and who prepare everything in advance, so we save time. Okay. So this is Jisun was not always like this, but she became like this after 1 year of training. She's smiling because she knows she made a lot of mistakes. So it's okay if you make mistakes, as long as you get it right in the end. So please go ahead.
okay, so I will run the analysis.
Okay, so the problem is SES self-efficacy is not working. Okay, still SES is not working. So I'm not happy with that. Uh, So why don't we go to the next model? Let's look at happiness. Okay, so we're looking at on the right, happiness total, trust, self-efficacy family, social support family, and SCS. I believe this will work, but Jisun knows because she already analyzed the data and she's smiling. And I predict this will work. Let's see how it goes. Wow. But the problem is SCS is negative. I don't really understand why SCS will be negative. And contrary to my expectation, it doesn't work. And so can you delete SCS?
But first, do you want to draw the path from the SES to
To try,
trust? Because
let's
since
give it a try. Because
okay,
what happens is SCS to self-efficacy family is positive, but in the path is negative. And this is what we call suppressor effect. Since positivity is taking up, explaining all the variance, the remaining variance can become negative. Okay, so what was positive can become negative. So you have to be careful. So can you run it? Still negative. So what is my conclusion? I don't fully understand Indonesians as I understand Korean. Okay, so this is not what I expected. So can you delete SES
okay,
completely and run it? This should come out almost perfect. Yes, except self-efficacy family does not predict trust. Okay, delete. Can you delete self-efficacy family with self-efficacy relational? So sometimes the highest correlation is not always the best because it absorbed all the variation. So slightly lower correlation can connect all the variables. So as you can see, I love doing path analysis because it gives you a lot of information and it makes you humble in terms of telling you you're not that smart. Okay. You never get it right the first time. Jason knows because we did this for many months. Okay, this looks much better, right? Everything is connected. So if you do goodness of fit, oh, right. But the problem is perfect. The C min divided by df, degree of freedom is 0 and C min is 0. That means there is no error variance. So it doesn't work because it's perfect. So we go back and see, let's see what we can do. So basically, if you only include psychological variable, they work together like a perfect machine. So we have to include another variable, and I don't know what that is. So I'm stuck. So in Korea, when we included the GPA, it worked. So can you include TGPA to see if that works?
okay. Oh,
Run the path number. So
oh,
TGPA and self-efficacy relational has to be significant, yes. If it's not, then we have to figure out some other background information. So the critical, no, it doesn't work. So delete TGPA and include English, their English ability. There's a variable called English and English and English. Down, 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 down. There's N English, yes. No, down, down, yes. You don't have to put it to trust. Okay. Yes. Let's look at it. No, it doesn't work. Delete. So I'm going to do something unusual. Put in religiosity and see religion. So go down, you see N religion. No, N religion, not religion, N religion. This is a variable of how much do you practice. So delete religion and let's see if this works. So if this works, it suggests religion, practicing religion is an important variable, much more important than SCS and academic achievement. Okay, so if this work, I'm a genius. If it doesn't work, I have to be humble. It doesn't work, so delete N religion and insert religiosity. The main reason is positivity is so strong. Religiosity one below yes. The positivity is so strong that there's not many variations left over. So if this doesn't work, then we have a problem. I have to figure out and how to solve this problem. Okay, let's see. So pray for those who are Muslim that this will work. Okay, let's run this. Okay, it worked. Wow. Religiosity predicts relational efficacy and also happiness total. So Jogja people are very religious, and now I think so let's check the goodness of it. Wow, this is not something I expected. So goodness of it looks good. Everything looks good. Okay. Simin is below. Okay.
Oh.
Wow. I'm a genius. So let's go back to the model. And the reason I'm a genius is I spent all night looking at the data last night. So the final result, happiness is predicted by relational efficacy. So relational efficacy predicts trust and happiness total. And you have high relational efficacy if you get support from your parents, if you're positive, and if you're religious. And religiosity predicts happiness total. And those people who have positivity, they have high religiosity. I mean, they have strong faith. So this is the first time in my life where I saw religiosity predict happiness and religiosity predict efficacy. This is mind-boggling. Only in Indonesia you get this. So this result is highly indigenous, right? I don't know Bandung. I'll work with Yus, Pak Yus tomorrow. And if we get this in Bandung, then that's very interesting. But if you don't get in Bandung people are not religious. They say they're Muslims, but not as good Muslims as in Jogja. Do you see the powerfulness of this? Okay. So religiosity is very important. And I've never seen results like this. So if Ibu Rene collects more data, I think then we have a very strong result. Okay. So can you save this result? So when you get result like this, then you're very happy. Okay. It's like discovering gold, right? This is more powerful than the result we have in Korea. Okay. I did not know religion can be that important. But Indonesians claim that they're religious. I did not believe them. I see the result. Okay, so now keep the same model, and let's look at happiness community. So just delete happiness total. Oh no, before that, why don't we do subjective well-being? Let's see if subjective well-being works, because I think it may work. Because we included subjective SWB. Yes, I think this will work
But do you
because
want to
we
change
included,
the variables?
yes, path, yes, connect all the path. So if this works, then path analysis for Jogja data, I think we're almost finished. And we know what to focus on. And then we know what to look for in Bandung, Udayana, and Malang. Okay. So let's see if this works. Run the path arrows. Waiting, reading data, result. Okay. Let's not as strong as happiness total. Let's see what's the significance and goodness of it. They're all good. Okay. So let's look at the significant path and delete uh, subjective well-being, religiosity, subjective well-being, SC relational. Okay. So it's not working as perfectly as planned. So let's skip subjective well-being and focus on happiness. So delete subjective well-being and include spiritual happiness. That should work. So happiness, you have spiritual. Yes, spiritual. Okay. Okay. Wow. Look at the bottom line. Religiosity to spiritual 0.8. That's very strong. Okay. So if you're religious, you're very happy with the spiritual life. That's the most powerful correlation I've seen. So let's look at the goodness of it. Okay, they look very good. So let's look at the path significance. Uh, all of the
Or look.
all of them are significant. Wow, perfect model.
Wow. I'm
Wow,
this is just in my curiosity, but can I draw the path from the religiosity to trust just in case?
yes, just give it a try. So Giza may be a genius, or she needs to be humble. We'll find out. I don't think so, but she might be right. So we'll see in one, two. Oh, she's right. Sometimes you need students who are smarter than you. Looks good. Okay. And the path. Oh, relational.
In it's
Oh,
not
okay.
working. Okay, I need to be humble.
Okay. Yes. Can you delete it and save the other one? Yes.
Okay.
So that's why she's a student and I'm a professor still. That's a joke we make. Okay. Now, instead of she's saving it, make sure you remember to save it. Now, can you put in sense of community? This is a scale on sense of community that um, exists, and I add few more items because Ibu Ning was interested in spirituality and sense of community. And so we will see if this works. I believe this works based on the correlation. Okay, so can you delete religiosity, sense of community, and social support, parents, sense of community? Okay, and can you run? Can you run the path significance?
Okay.
So the goodness of it, everything looks fine. Okay, can you go through the, so I can look at the data very quickly and it's all significant. Okay, so can you save this? So from the audience, is there anything else that you would like to see? We do the analysis. We have about 10 minutes left. So basically, for different variables of happiness, you can include different um, variables. We have not figured out subjective well-being in terms of what would predict subjective well-being. So can you include subjective well-being, the least sense of community, and meeting?
Expectation.
No, instead of subjective well-being, can we include flourish,
Okay.
and include expectation?
Instead of relational, I mean.
Can we try flourish first? Then if it doesn't work, we will try self-efficacy expectation. I have to look at the correlation table. I can't because my computer is being used. Okay, let's see how it works. The other reason is subjective well-being only has 5 items. Happiness total has 37 items. So happiness total is much more stable than subjective well-being. Flourish has 8 items instead of subjective well-being 5 items. So we may get result. Okay, I think we may get there. So can you do the okay, so the goodness of fit and significant looks all good. Can you look at path correlation? So social support parents, direct effect isn't there, okay? So she will delete social support parents directly to flourish, okay? And so this flourish means that you believe that you will grow and succeed. So what predicts flourish is trust, self-efficacy, relational. Positivity has a very strong effect. That's a positive psychology idea. And religiosity actually will help you to flourish. This is contrary. They think religion is backward and you'll stop from developing. So religiosity will increase your efficacy and help you to flourish. So this contradicts Western conception of the negative role of religion. So let's look at the goodness of it again. Okay, they all look good. Let's look at the path significant. They're all significant. So we can save. So we now have a path model for flourish. Can we look at we did subjective well-being? Can we include first save the data? Can we include subjective well-being and see if self-efficacy meeting expectation is the variable? trust to subjective well-being. Yes. Can you run it? Okay, this doesn't work. So I have to figure out religiosity to subjective feeling. So now you get an idea of what we're doing in path analysis. I never believed that I would include religiosity. But based on looking at the data last night in terms of correlation, um, I inserted religiosity. And also, you have to do multiple regression in terms of predicting subjective well being and include variables that are high on multiple regression. The problem is the positivity is highly correlated with subjective well being. It will explain most of the variance. 0.86 means that it explains about 50% of the variance. So, path analysis is the art part. You have to explore what to put in and what to delete. And also, this path analysis is highly publishable because it is very provocative. Because most Americans think Muslims are terrorists and they don't see any value in Islam. But this result shows the powerful effect of religion and faith in promoting happiness and subjective well being and increasing self efficacy. So this will be shocking to Americans and Europeans, and they will cite this article saying this is garbage, this doesn't make sense. And it's wonderful because the impact value will skyrocket. Okay. So this is the art and science. So we have to go from reliability. The scale reliability is very high for subjective well-being, happiness, trust, and self-efficacy and social support. Then we have the mean difference, and the difference between men and women uh, are very small, and correlations are high. So what we need to do is to understand the data and to pull out key dimensions and segments to explain to the data. And the most important part of the article is the path analysis because it tells you the goodness of fit, it tells you the significance. And so if you look at in psychology, this is considered the state of the art of analysis. So overall, uh, some of the variables are not very indigenous, such as positivity, subjective well-being, self-efficacy, and parents. But one variable, religiosity, changes the path model. Okay, and it gives us a clear indication that faith is important and is connected to all the other variables. So if you compare nasi goreng to fried rice in China, it's not everything is different. Only one ingredient or two ingredient is different. That is called the spice that goes into nasi goreng or soto ayam. What is different is the sambal and also the lime you put in. So when we say indigenous, it doesn't mean everything is different. It means one more thing is added that changes the taste of soto ayam or nasi goreng or ayam bakar, the barbecue. Why is barbecue chicken different? Because they use coconut leaf to give you the burnt flavor. So traditionally in Korea we use charcoal. Charcoal has a different flavor and smell to the coconut leaf. So ayam bakar tastes different. Ayam goreng tastes the same. Okay, so this is one ingredient that changes the flavor of food, and religiosity is one ingredient that changes our understanding of happiness and subjective well-being. So I'm very excited to find this. I did not expect to find it, and that's why you have to collect data. Sometimes you're right, but other times you discover something that is unexpected. So, thank you very much participating in the seminar workshop. It's 5:30. I'll end it here. So if you write to me and email me. I'll send you the tape recording. I'll send you the PDF file of the capture of SPSS. So if you have your own data, you can play around with it, use and other colleagues, and you might come up with a better path model than me. I don't know. You should, because you're Indonesian and you should understand data better than me. But if you can't, then you have to go back and study your own Indonesian culture or study statistics or understand the connection between data and concepts. Okay. So thank you very much for participating in a workshop. And I don't know if it's understandable from your point of view, but I hope it gives you a window what needs to be done in terms of indigenous concept, psychological concept, and we have the most advanced statistical analysis called structural equational modeling. So I will do additional structural equational modeling to validate the positivity scale in Indonesia. For some reason, positivity works like super duper construct. Okay, maybe that's why Indonesians are happy because they're very positive. So we can even publish an article of the validation of the positivity scale. And the flourishing scale works very well also in Indonesia. I don't know why. Maybe because young universities students are very hopeful about the future. They will grow and develop. Okay. So this is something that I did not expect. I thought Indonesians were just happy, but they want to develop. They want change. And so they're very hopeful. So this is a very powerful message for the professors and lecturers and faculty members. Your students have a lot of hope, they have high efficacy, and they're demanding changes in the future. And one student, Argo, is nodding their head. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes. And so thank you very much. Thank you, Jisun, for explaining in detail the path analysis. And so tomorrow, next week, we'll with Park Yus to examine Bandung data. Then next week, once Ibu Rainey collects more male students data, because most of the students are female, we will analyze the data altogether, and we'll continue with Park Dedi from Venus with Bahasa, no, Bali data and UNI Malang data. So I think there will be some variation. So this is what I mean by indigenous. Not everything is local. Okay. There are some things that are from Korea, something that are from the United States, and some variables that are very local. And it's a combination that makes it unique. Okay. And so thank you very much. I hope to meet you again in person or in other sessions. And this is how we work towards creating a cooperative and culturally relevant data. So thank you very much. And we'll all say bye for now. And I hope to see you again. And it's amazing, 51 people still stayed till the end of the workshop. This is very unusual in Korea and Indonesia. But I guess you're hungry to learn about statistics and path analysis. So if you have any questions, contact me. If your university is interested in further doing the research, I'll be more than happy to share the scales. And so you can collect data in your own university with your own students, and you can see if it works. And the last comment is we need to create more journals in Indonesia that are Scopus listed. So we can create more journals. So we have agreement from UMBY. They'll publish International Journal of Indigenous and Cultural Psychology. UN Malang will publish International Journal of Indigenous and Community Psychology. UII has just agreed to publish International Journal of Indigenous and Developmental Psychology. And so my goal is to have at least 10 journals in indigenous psychology and to have all of them listed in Scopus. that means you will have opportunities to publish 100 articles a year in Scopus listed journal in which you have control over the review process and the publication process. So the future of Indonesia is cooperation, is collaboration, is developing relationship. Don't adopt the American model. That makes you look backward, inefficient, and underdeveloped country. The data that you have collected in this country, they are very powerful. And they send a clear message of how to be happy. So the number one export for Indonesia is happiness and community. That's the lesson that you can teach to Americans and Europeans. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you again in the future. So closing off, and good night and